Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about end-fed antennas and how they work. Now most people are familiar with a dipole antenna. It has two wires. The feed point is in the middle. RF current flows out on one side and back on the other. But then someone sees an end-fed antenna and asks a very good question. How can one wire work as an antenna if you only feed it from one end? Where is the other half of the antenna? And that question is exactly why end-fed antennas are so interesting. And here's something even more interesting. A dipole and an end-fed wave may use almost the same amount of wire, yet simply moving the feed point from the center to the end completely changes what the radio sees. The impedance changes dramatically, and the matching method changes. An end-fed antenna is simply an antenna where the feed point is placed at or near the end of the radiating wire, instead of feeding the antenna in the middle like a dipole. The transmitter feeds one end of the wire. That makes the antenna very convenient. You can hang one end of the end-fed antenna from a tree. You can run the wire across a yard. You can also bring the feed point close to the radio and avoid running coax all the way to the center of the antenna. But electrically, there is something important happening. An antenna system still needs a complete RF path. Even if the antenna looks like just one wire, the system still needs a return path. That other path could be a short counterpoise wire. It may be the coax shield. It may be the radio ground, or it may even be nearby objects or the surrounding environment. This is why end-fed antennas can work very well, but they can be unpredictable if the return path is not controlled. One common type is the end-fed half-wave antenna. This is a wire that is approximately 1/2 wavelength long on its operating band. A half-wave wire has high voltage and low current at the ends. That means if you feed it at the end, the impedance is very high, much higher than the 50 ohms your radio wants to see. As you see in the diagram, Z equals V divided by I. Z is impedance, V is voltage, and I is current. Since voltage is high and current is low at the feed point, the impedance is also very high. So we usually need a matching transformer. This is often a 49-to-1 or 64-to-1 transformer. The transformer brings the high impedance of the end-fed wire down closer to something the radio and coax can use. This is why an end-fed half-wave antenna often has a small box at the feed point. That box is not magic. It is doing impedance transformation. Now at this point, some viewers may be wondering something important. If the antenna is connected to only one side of the feed system, where does the return current actually come from? After all, current normally requires a complete path. The electric field surrounding the antenna does not stop at the wire itself. As RF energy is applied to the end-fed antenna, an electric field develops around the wire. That electric field interacts with nearby conductors, including the coax shield, including a counterpoise wire, and even the surrounding ground. As a result, RF current can be induced onto these conductors as the system naturally searches for a return path. If a counterpoise is present, it provides an intentional return path, and much of the return current flows there. If no intentional return path is provided, return current can flow on the outside of the coax shield, causing the feed line to become part of the antenna system. That's what produces common mode current. In other words, the coax shield is not carrying RF current because we intended to. It is carrying RF current because the electromagnetic field surrounding the antenna has coupled energy into it, creating an unintended return path. When a counterpoise is added, it provides an intentional return path for the RF current. Without it, the coaxial shield often becomes part of that return path. With a counterpoise present, more of the current flows where we want it to flow, and less flows on the outside of the feed line. This is why counterpoise and common mode chokes are often used with end-fed antennas. They help control where that current flows. Now let's look at the transformer. Without the transformer, your radio would usually see a very poor match and a very high SWR. The transformer helps bring that impedance closer to the 50 ohms. Once the transformer is added, the SWR may look much better. But here's the important part. A low SWR does not automatically mean the antenna is radiating efficiently. The antenna's actual performance still depends on factors such as wire length, installation height, losses, grounding, and the return path. In many installations, you'll also see a one-to-one choke placed between the transformer and the radio. The transformer and the choke do different jobs. The transformer helps match the antenna impedance to the radio. The choke helps reduce unwanted RF current on the outside of the coax shield. Another common type is the random wire antenna. A random wire is usually not resonant on one specific band. Its electrical length changes depending on frequency. On one band, it may act like a short wire. On another band, it may be close to a half wave. On higher bands, it may become several wavelengths long. That means the impedance at the feed point can change dramatically from band to band. This is why random wire antennas often use a 9-to-1 union and an antenna tuner. The 9-to-1 union does not make the antenna resonant. It simply helps bring a difficult impedance range closer to something the tuner can handle. So the end-fed half wave and the random wire may look similar, but they are not exactly the same. The end-fed half wave is usually cut close to a resonant length. The random wire is usually a non-resonant wire used across multiple bands with a tuner. Now, one of the biggest issues with end-fed antennas is common mode current. Because the antenna is fed at the end, the coax shield can become part of the antenna system. Sometimes that helps the antenna radiate, but sometimes it helps RF back into the shack. You may notice noise problems, RF feedback, touchy equipment, computer speakers buzzing, or strange behavior when transmitting. That is why many end-fed antenna systems benefit from a counterpoise and a common mode choke. The counterpoise gives RF current a more controlled return path. The choke helps stop the outside of the coax from becoming an unwanted radiator. A good place for the choke is often near the feed point after the transformer before the coax runs back to the radio. In some cases, another choke near the shack can help reduce RF noise coming back into your equipment. End-fed antennas are popular because they are simple, portable, and easy to install. So when someone says, "How can one wire work as an antenna?" the answer is, it can work because the system is not really just one wire. This is Trevor from Telecom Training. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.